Before we begin, if stories about ordinary people standing up to abuse of power inspire you, you're in the right place. This story is about a father who had almost nothing left to lose, a CEO who believed money could erase consequences, and a single decision made out of spite that destroyed a career worth millions. Stay until the very end, because the final courtroom moment changed every life involved in ways no one expected. And if you enjoy emotional stories with powerful lessons about justice, resilience, and hope, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel so you never miss another story like this. The morning began like every other morning for Daniel Carter. Long before sunrise painted the sky in shades of orange, Daniel was already awake. His tiny apartment was quiet except for the soft humming of the old refrigerator and the steady breathing of his 8-year-old daughter, Lily, sleeping in the room next to his. He paused outside her door every morning before work, smiling as he watched her hug the worn stuffed rabbit she'd carried since she was a baby. That smile was the reason he never gave up. 3 years earlier, Daniel's world had shattered. His wife, Emily, had died after a sudden illness that doctors hadn't caught in time. One ordinary Tuesday, she had complained about feeling tired. 2 weeks later, Daniel was standing beside her hospital bed, promising he would take care of Lily no matter what happened. She squeezed his hand weakly. "You'll be enough for her," she whispered. Those had been the last words she ever spoke. Since then, Daniel had become mother, father, cook, chauffeur, homework helper, bedtime storyteller, and protector. Every dollar mattered. Every hour mattered. His pickup truck mattered most of all. It wasn't pretty. The faded blue paint had almost disappeared beneath patches of primer. Rust hugged the wheel wells. The air conditioner worked only when it felt generous. The driver's seat leaned slightly to one side because a spring had broken years ago. But that truck represented survival. It delivered construction supplies during the day. It transported furniture on weekends. It hauled scrap metal whenever Daniel could find extra work. Without it, there was no income. Without income, there was no apartment. Without the apartment, there was nowhere for Lily to call home. Daniel gently knocked on Lily's bedroom door. "Rise and shine, Peanut." A sleepy voice answered. 5 more minutes. "You said that 20 minutes ago." "No, I didn't." "You absolutely did." Lily giggled. He smiled. Moments like those reminded him that happiness wasn't something you bought. Sometimes it lived inside ordinary mornings. Half an hour later, they were eating toast spread with peanut butter while Daniel packed Lily's lunch. "I'm sorry," he said. "No strawberries today." She shrugged. "I like apples better anyway." He knew she was lying. Strawberries had always been her favorite, but she had learned never to complain about money. Children weren't supposed to understand financial stress. Yet, somehow Lily understood everything. She noticed when Daniel skipped dinner, pretending he wasn't hungry. She noticed when he patched his boots instead of buying new ones. She noticed when bills piled higher than usual. She never asked questions. She simply hugged him a little tighter. After dropping Lily at school, Daniel headed toward downtown. Today's delivery was important. Very important. A luxury office tower needed custom steel framing delivered before 9:30. If everything arrived on time, Daniel would earn nearly $900, enough to catch up on the electric bill and finally replace Lily's broken bicycle tire. Traffic moved smoothly until he reached the entrance of Blackwell International's headquarters. The building towered over every other structure nearby. Glass walls reflected the morning sunlight like polished diamonds. Luxury cars lined the private parking area. Employees hurried inside carrying designer briefcases and expensive coffee cups. Daniel pulled toward the loading zone. A security guard waved. "Morning. Morning. Dock 3. You got it." Daniel backed carefully toward the unloading bay. Just as he climbed out, another black SUV sped into the executive entrance. People immediately straightened. Security guards became more alert. Employees whispered, "She's here." Daniel didn't know who they meant. He soon found out. The rear passenger door opened. Out stepped Victoria Ashford, CO, 42 years old, worth hundreds of millions, known throughout the business world as brilliant, known throughout her own company as terrifying. Every employee moved fast the moment she appeared. Nobody wanted to be the reason she started her day angry. Unfortunately, she was already angry. Her assistant hurried beside her. The board meeting has been moved to 8:45. Victoria didn't slow down. Who approved that? The chairman? I don't care if the president approved it. My schedule exists for a reason. I'm sorry. Sorry doesn't recover lost time. Daniel happened to be tightening one of the cargo straps on his truck when he glanced toward the entrance. That tiny glance lasted less than 2 seconds. But Victoria noticed. She interpreted it as someone staring at her. She hated being stared at, especially by people she considered beneath her. As Daniel stepped backward, one loose steel strap brushed against a decorative flower planter near the executive entrance. The planter tipped slightly. A handful of white flowers spilled onto the sidewalk. Nothing broke. Daniel immediately hurried over. Oh no! He carefully lifted the heavy planter upright. He picked up every flower, brushed away loose dirt, straightened everything exactly as it had been. I'm sorry, he called toward the nearest employee. That was my mistake. Most people would have appreciated the honesty. Victoria wasn't most people. She stopped walking. What happened? Her assistant hesitated. The delivery driver accidentally bumped one of the decorative planters. Victoria stared at Daniel. You. Daniel walked over politely. Yes, ma'am. Did you damage company property? I knocked it over by accident, but I already fixed it. That's not what I asked. Yes, technically. Victoria folded her arms. You're blocking my entrance. I'll move as soon as the unloading is finished. No. Her voice became ice. You'll move now. Daniel glanced toward the loading dock, where workers were already preparing forklifts. They asked him to unload here. I don't care what they asked. It's scheduled. I said move. Daniel tried to stay respectful. If I leave now, the delivery will be delayed. Victoria stepped closer. I own this building. I understand. I decide what happens on my property. Yes, ma'am. So, why are you still standing here? Daniel looked trapped. If I move, I lose the delivery. If you don't, she smiled, you'll regret it. Nearby employees lowered their eyes. Nobody dared intervene. Nobody dared disagree. Everyone had seen this before. When Victoria decided someone deserved punishment, she never stopped halfway. Daniel sighed quietly. I'm sorry about the flowers. Victoria gave a cold laugh. This isn't about flowers anymore. She turned toward the head of security. Have that truck removed. The guard blinked. Ma'am, it's an active delivery. I didn't stutter. It's legally parked in the loading zone. Victoria's expression hardened. I said tow it. The security chief hesitated. Every instinct told him this was wrong. But refusing an order from Victoria, Ashford often meant losing your job. He swallowed. Yes, ma'am. Daniel's face drained of color. Please don't. Victoria ignored him. My meeting starts in 15 minutes. You don't understand, Daniel pleaded. That's my only truck. Should have thought about that before damaging my property. I already fixed it. I don't care. The tow truck arrived astonishingly fast, apparently under contract with the building. Daniel stood helplessly as workers attached heavy chains beneath his pickup. Inside the cab sat Lily's backpack, her asthma inhaler, Daniel's work tools, his wallet, his lunch, everything. Please, he begged. At least let me take my daughter's medicine. Victoria didn't even turn around. She simply walked through the revolving doors into the gleaming lobby. Behind her, the old blue truck, the truck that carried one father's entire future, was slowly lifted off the ground and hauled away, while dozens of silent witnesses watched without saying a single word. None of them realized they had just witnessed the first move in a chain of events that would end one of the most powerful CEO careers in the country.